And what we're doing when we look at these things is we stop leaving ourselves. Because when we chase, we leave ourselves. When we avoid, we leave ourselves. We're always leaving ourselves. And we return to our own energy. We embody that. We stabilize the polarity of that. And then we allow life to meet us. Usually, we spend a lot of time trying to understand why we are exhausted, what still exhausts us, where we need to be like, take back our energy, be more resilient, the whole resilience topic, without creating a thicker skin. And in that context, this particular perspective, looking at chasing and avoiding, is incredibly helpful to understand what we're actually doing on the inside while we are on the path to initiation. And to recap, that initiation simply means that I am no longer at all a victim to my own trauma. And it doesn't matter how we define trauma, if it's a capital T or a small t, or if it's, let's generalize it as the imprint that we have been cultivating throughout our lives until we step beyond culture. And then the stepping beyond culture and becoming a pioneer by modeling new trackable behavior that is more elegant, more inclusive, more alive. That we do until we have literally integrated all of the things, and especially the major wounds that we have co-created in our society. And if we want to shift that, we have to, of course, be aware of where we are at right now. So this is not a I need to get there conversation, but this is a where am I right now conversation, as we usually have. So it's about seeing the leaks. Where are we still leaking energetically? Where we're still leaning into or avoiding certain things? And how does it feel in the body? Is this illusion or truth? As in, does it come from my wound? Am I making this up within myself? Or is this actually a red flag on the outside where it's really good to get out of the way, or really good to stay anyways and not let trauma win, but let love win? So the differentiation is an incredibly important part of that. And to reclaim our inner polarity fully, to not outsource emotionally any longer. And we all constantly outsource emotionally. And to understand that, to reclaim our inner polarity means that we can regulate ourselves. And regulation doesn't mean being calm all the time. But whatever emotion comes up, we can witness it and we can integrate it. And we can basically, I don't want to say snap out of it, because usually it's more of like a cork that we have gone all the way down to the bottom of ourselves, and then we have loosened that emotion, and so it floats up and we float up with it, and then we integrate it. And so we not only witness ourselves in our depth, but we are also rising with it again. And that is reclaiming our inner polarity, because we are the witness and we are the nourisher and we are the conversational partner to ourselves, and we are the vision, and we are the structure, and we are mostly the trust. We trust ourselves enough to be able to handle our inner everything, our inner riches, however they might be covered up and buried and all these things. And then we stabilize in that wholeness, and we live from that field of wholeness. And what we're doing when we look at these things is we stop leaving ourselves. Because when we chase, we leave ourselves. When we avoid, we leave ourselves. We're always leaving ourselves. And we return to our own energy. We embody that. We stabilize the polarity of that. And then we allow life to meet us. And we meet life depending on what's going on. Like masculine is meeting life actively. Feminine is letting life meeting us. That's also active. None of that is passive. And going into these topics, we are just remembering something. So we're not learning anything new. As little human earthlings, we knew all that intuitively. We've just trained it out of ourselves. So it's a remembering and a returning. It's the homecoming. It's not a fixing, it's a reintegrating. And the core axis in this is that where we put our attention here, the attention is the energy, the aliveness, and it organizes life. So when we pay attention on something that's not there, we let things, we organize around absence, around scarcity. If you avoid aliveness, we organize through distance. In both cases, we're not really home. The energy and the chasing, the energy of the chasing and the avoiding is what we're looking at. And chasing is leaving yourself. You know, you lean towards something and it happens internally. And that for me was the big aha epiphany here. Me putting my attention onto something or someone who is not present and would give me a better feeling if he or she would be here or if that would be there. I'm not talking relationship generally. I'm talking about anything that you feel you're currently missing. Health, wealth, love, you name it. Freedom, really good one. So me thinking out there, fantasizing, is chasing. Now that's totally contradicting manifestation practice. And it sounds like, and it's actually not, because it's not a bad thing to fantasize if it makes us feel better. But if it makes us feel lacking, I'm longing for something and I feel the lack, then you're chasing. If you're really truly happy in the moment and you know there is more, and you're excited about it, that's not chasing, that's attracting. Or basically that's making the unseen seen. You're not pulling anything towards you, it's already there, you just can recognize it. It shows up in your vision, to be very blunt. So that's the chasing, leaving yourself by mentally and emotionally going elsewhere and giving yourself a bad feeling over it. And the avoiding, the masculine part, is you're leaving yourself, and it happens externally because you're pouring yourself into something feminine because you cannot hold yourself. You're looking for the relief on the outside. And that's anything where you feel like you have too much stuff going on in the inside emotionally, and you look for, you go in places. And you can also do that internally. There's a well-noted masculine practice where you can do this with yourself, relieve yourself, literally. It simply means, why is in spirituality, it's always the talk about why you do not masturbate. Because it's the relieving yourself of something that you should be able to contain. And for the masculine nervous system, it's so wanting to relieve itself all the time. And we have this as the feminine, we are so wanting to be contained by something on the outside, held by something on the outside. So the masculine is longing to get rid of what was in there, and the feminine is longing to be received with everything they are. It's basically the same thing. And that's why that creates the codependency, basically. So areas of chasing and avoiding are all of our lives. So it is love, including going in there very shortly. I don't really want to open that container, but the whole, this is fated, this is destiny, twin flame thinking, all of that. There's a beautiful thing, a beautiful saying, the unexamined life is not worth living. I forgot who said it. We'll put it in the footnotes. And I want to paraphrase this a little bit like John Vervaeke has done it recently. If I don't know my motivation behind something, I will call anything fate, both my successes and my failures or my difficulties, my challenges. And if I understand that this is not fate here, This is me creating reality through my wounds or through my filters. Then I understand, oh, okay, this is what I'm actually doing. And then, and only then I can start to navigate it deliberately, because I can decide, oh, I'm leaning out again, or I'm avoiding myself again. I want somebody else to do it for me. I want to co-regulate here. And don't get me wrong, co-regulation is not a bad thing. But only co-regulation, because I cannot contain myself, that's what we're on about. So when you talk about, there's a lot of stuff in regards to love and relationships that we can look at here. But I want to make I want to make the picture bigger. Healing, health. When we're longing for a certain state in our body, and we're like, let's say spiritually, emotionally, mentally, long beyond that, but our body is still not getting out of whatever we say we have, then we're avoiding something or chasing something. We're leaning towards that state, that fantasy, and we feel the lack thereof, or we're avoiding something within us and outsource it. Most of the things that we actually avoid is aliveness. It's the same thing that we chase. We chase and we avoid aliveness. We think if we avoid aliveness, we think that's too much. My nervous system can't handle it. Masculine position. If we chase aliveness, we feel like we're not alive enough. We cannot create the aliveness within us. We need somebody else to provide that. Or we feel so much aliveness that's not comfortable. We want somebody else to be there to hold that with us. That's the whole chasing and avoiding thing. It's the same thing. It's almost like when I speak it, I can't differ between them anymore, because it's literally the same thing looked at from two sides. The whole topic of perfection. We're constantly chasing perfection and we're avoiding perfection at the same time. It's like we want to be, the feminine so longs to be, I don't know, we're measured by beauty. That's the thing. If the feminine is measured by beauty, it doesn't mean the woman. I'm not speaking woman. I'm speaking the feminine in all of us, measured by beauty. Because why is that? Because beauty is the abundance in nature. If any system, animal, plant, stone, anything, can focus on beauty, then there is excess energy, because it's not about survival anymore. And that's the perfection. The feminine is chasing that kind of perfection. And the masculine is avoiding that kind of perfection on the inside and getting, I'm going to say bluntly, a younger and younger girlfriend. Adding that because they feel they're outsourcing it, literally. And the next thing that we're chasing or avoiding is certainty. We're so chasing certainty. That's like, oh my God, the pathless path. I have no idea what I'm doing here. So uncomfortable. We want certainty. And the deep knowing, that's the integrated state of certainty, means I know exactly that it's going to be fine. I don't need to know the steps. And I don't even need to know the timing. The moment as long as we still manifest on or before, we're still chasing. But if you say, I can even surrender the timing, that's mighty. That means you fully trust life to provide now and not on or before. Because what's on or before? That means, okay, by, let's say, 2027, I will have X. Time is only information. You're basically telling your system, not yet, not yet, not yet, all the time. It's counterproductive. If you say, I surrender timing, I will know it when I see it. And that is the job here, not chasing certainty as in I need to know when and how exactly. This is what we're chasing here. Or we're avoiding certainty. The masculine prefers to be the constant superposition. That's like the antidote to commitment, basically. Keeping a back door open. I can still, I don't know, take another job, sleep with another woman, etc., etc. That is basically the back door that is always open is the masculine avoiding super focus, loving through what is right now at all times, everything else that is. But taking this very narrow lens is very hard for the masculine to understand that beyond that narrow lens, it's not about having a narrow lens on what is here and there and here and there, like the bee going to every flower and focusing on that, but focusing basically through one flower to all of the others, but not escaping that particular flower. Very beautiful metaphor here. Okay, so the somatic markers for that is either leaning forward when we feel like we want to go somewhere or running away. And what I would like to add here is I do that by, I'm leaning forward by asking myself, any kind of my entities or people that are very close to me, how do you feel that? How does that resonate in your body? What is happening here? What do you read? That's me chasing. And I'm doing it deliberately because my mind then stops racing. But I know that I'm currently chasing. And the other way around, it's that sometimes we deliberately avoid something. Then I know I am avoiding because I am not there yet. And I know I need a break here. I need to recalibrate before I step into that space again. So it's not about not doing it, but it's about understanding and being soft on yourself and merciful and lenient. Oh, I need to chase for a moment here because otherwise I'm going to downward spiral and my mind will not stop looping. I need meaning making. So that's the thing that I'm on about here. It's not about we need to do that. We can never do this again. We can never chase or avoid again, but just be aware of it. Oh, I'm currently avoiding. All right. How am I feeling with me avoiding? How nice, how much can I love that within me? That's the start. We're loving through the pattern and it immediately opens up again. Instead of trying to avoid the avoidance. Ha, that's fun. Or chase the chasing. So it's the leaning forward or the running away, that's somatic markers, the tension, the anticipation or overwhelm or the flattening out. You know, when you had some beautiful experience and afterwards you kind of flatten out because you feel like, wow, this is too good to be true. And you cannot settle. And settling is a word that I don't like using because I'd rather use it in the context as Case Kenny is using it, the opposite of settling, which means I'm not making myself small again and settling for less. In that context, I would rather use the word rest in yourself. So in the feminine, the pattern of chasing looks like overgiving, waiting, and emotional leaning. And in the masculine, it's over strategizing, controlling, and constructing. So it's not offering structure, or it is not offering structure, certainty, or format. So either it's constructing in an artificial way, or it's not offering anything of that. You structure yourself, would you? I'm not giving you any certainty. I'm not offering format, basically. Artificial format or not at all. That's the masculine way. Or it's leading without inner grounding. So it's like a distorted direction. It comes from abstraction. It comes from logic. It's not a deeply grounded feeling, but it's like a more mental construct. So that's the masculine way of doing this. And the core distinction is chasing or avoiding is basically a lack of connection to ourselves and from there to the other. In the real connection, if real connection is happening, for the feminine, that means life meets you without effortful pursuit. You don't have to do anything, it's just coming. In the masculine, that means that you're not being followed if you don't lead. So if the masculine doesn't lead, and the feminine on the outside life still follows, that's avoidance. You only attract the kind of life that's empty if you don't properly lead from a grounded perspective. And so if you, as a masculine, you don't lead much, the feminine, the healthy feminine is calling you out and standing a strong ground. The feminine, life has standards. It doesn't matter if it's a woman or a feminine embodied earthling or a feminine polarized earthling, or if it's life itself. If you don't lead from a strong ground, and if you don't structure life from a strong ground, you only attract, you only experience either resistance in the feminine or emptiness, because that's what you long for. If you don't lead, the masculine is always longing for emptiness, and then you receive emptiness. And the practice anchor is, in that sense, where am I leaning and where am I avoiding? Very simple question.